I want to share with you a modification that I've done to add a bike rack on the back of our camper here. So this is something I've been wanting to do for a while, finally getting around to it. I'm utilizing a bike rack that was given to me. It's actually a Ford bike rack that you would put on the back of a vehicle, and I just did a little modification to add another hitch here on the back of the camper there. So I wanted to show you what I've done. By the way, I will have a full build video over on my main channel, abomb79, if you'd like to watch and see, you know, how I fabricated it and the welding and that kind of stuff. But for this video here on the adventures, I'm just going to show you what everything looks like with it all put together, and show you what I did and kind of talk about why. So I've already shown before that I've got a cargo carrier right there that I put on the back of the camper, and that is what I use just for the extra things. Mainly it's just all my grilling utensils and charcoal and stuff like that, lightweight stuff. There's not a lot of weight that goes on this cargo carrier, and this is not a very heavy deal either. It's made out of thin wall tubing, expanded metal in the middle, so it doesn't weigh a lot. By the way, this is the bike rack that I'm going to be using right here. Fits in there like that, and then the bikes hang on that. So I'll show you later how all this goes together. But I had already built this all right, the lower bar right there, that's the custom receiver that I fabricated and bolted on there. It's actually bolted into the frame. If you look up in there, those two hex nuts, that's the bolts, and they're like that on each side, so it's bolted into this I-beam frame. And this is a lot heavier. This is quarter wall rectangular tubing right there. All right, so that's what the cargo carrier goes into right there. And then this is another piece that I bought off eBay, and this is designed really to mount like on the bottom side of this factory bumper, so that you can use this for cargo carriers or bike racks, whatever. So I modified it, and I added 2 pieces of 1-inch round, welded them on here so that I can install set screws here to keep this insert that I built from rattling around. So this is where the other hitch that I fabricated for the bike rack goes into this right here, and it's going to go up and over so that I can mount the bikes over the cargo rack right there. All right, so I still need to take it back off and paint it. We're not quite done, but I wanted to show you the fit up. And so the other thing that I did before I put all this together, I wanted to show you this lower piece here. This is a piece of steel that I cut and welded to this receiver here. All right, and then I've got it bolted into this lower bumper that I fabricated. So this piece right here is actually also being supported by this lower bumper, so it's all tied in together. I had put this together the other day, yesterday, whenever I was fabricating, and I think it's going to be fine, but you do see a slight amount of flex in this steel tubing right here, this little thin bumper. So I wanted to give it some extra rigidity, tie it all together, so that's what we've done. We've just bolted it all together so that it's kind of, you know, all married as one. So I'll take you over and show you the piece that's going to go in here that I fabricated. I painted it yesterday, so maybe the paint's dry now. So this is the hitch extension that I fabricated. I used a piece of 2-inch steel tubing. This is 3/16 wall. It really doesn't need to be that heavy, but this is something that I already had, so I used it. Got the hole drilled for the pin, and the 2 set screws will tighten there. So that'll drop down in there. This is the top. This is a slip tube that I purchased from my local trailer hitch company, and then just welded it on nice and heavy. Got plenty of weld on there using flux core. I've also added the 2 pieces of 1-inch here, welded those on, and then I have set screws that's going to lock that bike rack in there and keep it from rattling and shaking around. So we'll go ahead and I'll grab it. Yeah, it's nice and dry because I painted it yesterday. So we'll go install it now, show you what it looks like. I went ahead and installed the cargo carrier just so you can kind of see everything that I'm doing here and why we're going to be putting the bikes above this right here. I needed to get the bikes up above. So I've got a couple totes that go in here just to carry extra things for the grilling, charcoal, grilling utensils. There's not a lot of heavy weight back here, so I don't want everybody thinking that I'm putting hundreds and hundreds of pounds back here and eliminating tongue weight from the front of the trailer. That's not what's going on. This is all lightweight stuff, okay? So anyway, whenever you put something on the back of your camper or your truck or anything, these inserts, they wiggle around, they move, okay? There's a couple cheap ways you can help eliminate that. This is a clamp right here called an anti-rattle clamp. You can get off Amazon for like 15 bucks, okay? It's a stainless steel U-bolt with the nuts and washers and this steel clamp right here. So this clamp goes over the slip tube, and then this steel clamp comes up from the bottom underneath your insert and clamps everything together tight. You just draw those up and it's just going to pull that up tight and keep that from moving around. All right, it's not 100% effective, but it does work really good and helps eliminate a lot of that slop in this right here. You can also use this for just your regular, trailer hitch, your ball insert. You can put that on that and it'll keep that from wiggling around. So a little cheap thing you can get. I mean, you can't make this for what you can buy this for off Amazon. Like I said, it's about 15 bucks. This is the other one that I have. This came with the bike rack. This is another style that you can buy. The cotter pin goes on that side right there, but what happens is that, so this piece right here, this nut and spring, you will put this up inside the tube. In this case, it'll be this tube here. Whatever your accessory is, you slip this up in the tube and you line it up with the pin, the hitch pin hole. So in our case, this is going to be the hitch pin. And you line that up, put the two pieces together, and then you stick the pin through like that, tighten it up just like you would a bolt. And when you tighten it all the way up against the outside of the slip tube, this is going to draw the two pieces up together like that and make them both tight. So this will help eliminate any of the rock and the slack that's in the two pieces right there. So since I'm not going to be using this on my bike rack, I'm going to use this for the cargo carrier there, and I'm also going to use this piece here. So hopefully, these two, this will not be moving around on the back of the camper. But just two simple ways that you can help eliminate slop in whatever you're putting into your trailer hitch. I've got some totes that go in here, and really all I put on the back here is all of my grilling accessories, charcoal, and I got a little small Weber. Sometimes I'll put my cook pot over here on this side, and it helps hold other things that I really don't have room for inside the camper or in the front of the camper, because I've already got our chairs and our tables and our actual other camping accessories up there. So this helps take hold a few more things back here, and I'm not overloading the back of the camper and removing a bunch of tongue weight on the front. So I have a lot of people that have to say that in comments, and I'm not doing anything unsafe right here. The other thing that a lot of people say is, because of where I take these videos and pictures, I'm up on my concrete right here. They always tell me, oh, you're going to scrape. I'm sure you're going to scrape. You already scraped. You just haven't told us. My concrete is elevated here. I'm way up high. Whenever this thing is off away from this concrete, there is quite a bit of distance between the ground and this right here. And I have never once scraped or had an issue with this. And I've gone in some transitions to where the camper is coming up, up on an incline like that. This is nowhere near scraping the ground. So this is not going to scrape. This is perfectly fine. I'm just backed up to an elevated foundation right here. All right, so we got our custom hitch extension, is probably what I would call it right here. And I've got it made so that it'll just drop in there. There's a plate. I got a plate welded on the bottom of that, so I can set it in there and it's not going to fall all the way through. I don't have to manually line up the hole. All right, so we just drop it in there. And I've got the hitch pin, got the hole perfectly lined up right there, and I do have the clip in my pocket. Stick the cotter pin in there, and then take the 1/4 inch Allen key, Allen wrench, and just snug up the two set screws. that's going to eliminate that thing from moving around. Nice and solid right there. All right, next goes the bike rack itself. And we got another pin here we can use to line it up. All right, and that's just going to lock it in, the hitch pin there. Cotter key on one side, and we got the 2 set screws again. I modified it so you can do this right here. Tighten these 2 set screws up, and that's going to keep any rock out of that. So that flex that you see is just in the bumpers down there, but we don't have none of this shake, rattle, and roll except for these guys, because these are just pinned right here with lynch pins, but that's going to work real good. This is what it normally looks like minus the bag. I do have the bag that sits in the cargo carrier that keeps all this tied up and the rain and stuff out of it. But these are the Rubbermaid action packers, and again, you can buy that stuff on Amazon. But this is one I've had forever, and I don't have my clamp on there. That's why it's moving around here. But you see, I've just got grilling accessories in here. This one, I usually keep my charcoal in there. And then this is another one that just has another grill in it. This has got a little Weber in there, you know, more space for, you know, smoking wood or whatever. So there's not a lot of weight on this thing. I do put the spare tire on top of this whenever I go to button it up, because the original spare tire holder I took off the back. I'm going to rebuild it. That's going to be another accessory that I'm going to put on that bumper. I usually set the spare tire up here and then cover it all up. The other nice thing about having this on the back of the camper is this actually serves as more of like another tabletop and a work area whenever I'm outside grilling. Usually I have the grill kind of set up right here in the back of the camper area, and when I'm not on my concrete right here and I'm on, you know, the ground the camper's sitting on, this is this is up here above my waist. So, you know, I like having all my grilling and cookware and everything right here together on the back of the camper. I don't have to go to the front, dig for it. I don't have to go inside and dig for it. It's all right here. I just go to these boxes and I go to my grill, and I can put the lids back on here and just have a place to set pots and pans or whatever. You know, just give me another work surface outside of the campsite. And we'll start with Abby's bike. I'm going to put it on the inside there just because she doesn't ride her bike as much as I do whenever I'm around the campground. And I'm still kind of playing around with the position of the hangers here. So I may have to modify them or move them a little bit later as I continue to use this to make sure that it's how I want it. So a little bit fidgety to get it in there, but once you figure out the process, it's not too bad. All right, so there's hers. I'm gonna go grab my bike and then we'll put mine on there. All right, let's see here. I have to put my seat over her handlebars. There we go. That's it. And then so all of them just have these, you got these straps you pull around the tire and then snap it in on both sides. And the only thing I think I'm missing is some straps to strap around it, keep the bikes from swaying back and forth. So I've just got some bungee cords. I'll probably take a good bungee and just bungee it around together to keep the bikes, you know, together at the bottom. But that's it. I'm still a little bit unsure about the height that I have it at right here. I can probably lower it down a little bit. I kept it high because I wanted to test everything out. It's easy to cut that tube off and re-drill the hole than having to make another one. So once I put the, as of right now, I've got the spare tire that I sit on there and a rug that I put on top of that and then cover the bag up. That gives me about a foot of clearance right here. So I wanted a little bit of room that whenever I'm actually set up at the camp, I can still use that without the bikes being right here on top of me in the way. So that's kind of what my theory is on that. But as I said, we'll get some use under it and just kind of keep playing with it and experimenting and making it what we need if I need to modify it. So this is the factory spare tire holder that was given to me, and I'm almost embarrassed to show you guys this. It's such horrible fabrication on these. I mean, look at these welds right there. Look at that weld. They left wires on here called whiskers in the welding world so that you can slice your finger wide open on that. I mean, look at that. Look at that whisker right there. That's from the MIG welder. The fact that they let this kind of stuff go through is just mind-boggling to me. I mean, just how crummy it looks. So anyway, I'm going to rebuild this, okay? One of the problems I have, the reason I couldn't use it anyway, is because the position of the tube here sticks out too far, and the tire would be, you know, in the way of these tubs right here. So my idea, I've got plenty of this 2-inch tubing still in the shop. I'm going to build another one, and I'm going to build a mount so that it sits directly on top of the bumper right here, like this. So I'll have a tube come up, and I'll have another plate come over that the tire is going to mount to right in this position. So this is going to be mounted right on top of the bumper instead of the side of the bumper. It'll be on top, and then I'll have the spare tire sitting right about in this general area right here, and I got plenty of space between the bumper and the back of these tubs right here. So, and it's not going to be in the way of my brake light over here. So it's going to sit right up in there. I wanted to mount it on this, but you see there's not enough space between the tube and the tubs right here. So I gotta have to move it over here and pull it back just a little bit further, and then that's going to fix that problem of having to, you know, set the spare tire up on this every time I want to go somewhere. Well, I think this is going to conclude this particular video, and just wanted to share with you my custom bike rack that I modified to make work on the back of my camper right here. I think it's going to work out real well. I'm real happy with this. It's going to be nice having them up out of the way and not having to put them in the back of the truck every time now. So there was one other option that I was thinking about going with. They make a rack that mounts on the front of the camper called Jacket, and it's a bracket that bolts underneath your electric winch or your manual winch, whichever one you got, and it comes up like this, and it mounts your bikes up high above your propane tanks. And one of the reasons why I decided not to go that route is because I'm going to fabricate another rack that goes on the front that I'm going to end up mounting a generator to. We're going to get a generator for those times that we want to go do some primitive camping. So I'm going to have a generator mounted up there with a thing for some extra gas cans, but that's going to be another video, another project later down the road. So anyway, hopefully this will help you out with some ideas, and maybe you enjoyed the video too. All right guys, thanks.